Let's go to SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo. He is following the International Day of Solidarity with Palestine and joins us live from Constitutional Hill. Kai, good afternoon. At this point, you could just rehash what's happened and really what's happening on your end as we're speaking, in fact.
Across the world, marking a very Well, certainly quite a very significant day across the globe, marking the Day of Solidarity with the people of Palestine. I mean, in fact, it's recognized by the United Nations. As you know, that the Palestinians are pushing for self-determination. And this is a very critical year in light of very awful events that we have seen in Gaza, albeit with a pause, humanitarian one at that. But let's hear now from Mr. Casserols, one of the very staunch supporter for freedom of Palestine. So thank you so much indeed for your time. What do you make of today's solidarity? So many parties from ANC, EFF together under one umbrella for the Palestinians.
Oh, absolutely. It's so important from that point of view. And bear in mind, we've had the trade unions here as well, with these national parties leading our people and the community groups, including the Jews for Justice for Palestine. So it shows that we can get this unity in South Africa and be in step with international global force demanding full support for the Palestinian people, an end to the genocide, why we call for the ceasefire, and we stand by the Palestinian people. We're the children of Nelson Mandela, who made the statement, we South Africans can't feel free until Palestine's free. And therefore we support them. They're not alone. And they are facing the most atrocious butchery by Zionist Israel. And we oppose racism, we oppose this fascist colonial oppression of the Palestinian people. We're not against the Jewish people, we're against Zionism, which is a political doctrine. And we have in our midst South African Jews who stand against what Israel is doing. And we appeal to Jews throughout South Africa, don't allow yourselves to be poisoned by the Zionist doctrine, because it's an absolute vicious doctrine that is counter to the values of Judaism. We show this unity for the Palestinian people, and they are going to win.
Just before I let you go, sir, we saw the South African government calling for the International Criminal Court to get involved in terms of what we have seen, the very horrific events, the atrocious attacks on the hospitals in Gaza. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Of course it is, and we're proud of this government. This government has taken a lead internationally, as we should, because the world supported us when we fought apartheid. The Palestinians were on our side, the stateless people. So of course we salute this government, our president, our Durko foreign minister. The world is applauding what South Africa's position is in sending the Israeli ambassador out, in taking the Israeli government to the International Court of Justice. This is outstanding, and this is the way to support the Palestinian people. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much indeed for your time. Of course, that was a former Minister of Intelligence. And thank you so much to an ever-patient Mr. Mbalula, the ANC Secretary General. Sir, quite a very important day. We know that as the governing party, you have also been in touch with your counterparts in Palestine, but also denouncing what has been happening there.
We are today here at the Constitutional Hill, the epitome of what has ushered in South Africa in terms of our democracy. We are here today to make a statement, joining patriots in the country, our country, but the people of the world globally, calling for justice in our forward march to ensuring that we don't just add with today, but we guarantee self-determination and of the Palestinian people and fight the occupation. And this is what is important. This struggle, we have been with this struggle for the longest of time, as you would have heard from Comrade Ronnie, that the ANC has never been anti-Jews, as it has been distorted. We are against the system. that oppresses people. We feel deep about the pain that is meted against any other person in the world. That goes to Sahrawi people and that goes to the Palestinian people. So we are here standing on the forward march, on the path and the journey we are on to ensure that the Palestinian people are free.
And just once again, Mr. Mbulula, what would be your message to the international community in terms of re-galvanizing support for the Palestinians, whether it's United Nations Security Council meeting to discuss this issue, and especially to the bigger powers, some of the countries that are fomenting tensions, but also something that is very key would be these growing calls for a permanent ceasefire as opposed to just a pause for humanitarian aid where in a matter of few days it might be a very precarious situation.
We want a permanent ceasefire as the African National Congress, but we also want self-determination. Self-determination must come through a negotiated settlement. And we as South Africa, we have been sharing experiences with the people of Palestine and the Israelis. For some time now, all of those negotiations have come to a standstill, and it's not through the barrel of the gun that will realize peace. But at the same time, the world must not, and we applaud what is happening today, and that's why as the ANC we are here, that today is solidarity with the Palestinian people, because it is the Palestinian people who are stateless. It is the Palestinian people who are subjected to apartheid Zionist oppression by the Israeli state. And this is what is happening here today. And we have taken steps. We applaud our government for the steps they've taken to investigate genocide, what is happening in Palestine today, and went to the ICC. But at the same time, take steps, including the possibility of the closure of the Israeli embassy, shut it down if there is no movement forward. But we are encouraged, working with other countries, Qatar in this instance, our government participating, resulting in the release of the hostages. There is a movement, but that movement will not end there. We want a movement that guarantees self-determination. That's how we will guarantee long-lasting peace between the Palestinian and the Israeli people. And our approach as the ANC has been an approach of a two-state solution.
So, Mr. Mbulula, are you going to call on South African executive to make sure that they accelerate the process and expedites the process to make sure that diplomatically South Africa cut off these ties with Netanyahu's administration?
South Africa has got support now. With due respect to the separation of powers, our parliament, supported by the ANC, and all political parties have voted overwhelmingly for action to be taken. From a legislative point of view, we've got support. And from the people's point of view in our country, there are voices and there are people on a daily basis who are speaking loud about ceasefire, against the genocide, and supporting the efforts of our government in terms of ensuring that there is self-determination for the people of Palestine. So we are very much happy about the steps taken by government. Should the need arise, that embassy must be shut down. And all efforts working with everybody must not be spared to bring about long-lasting peace in Palestine and the Israeli peoples, but guaranteeing the self-determination of the Palestinian people and the Palestinian state. There is no war there. It's a genocide. Netanyahu is a murderer and a killer. And as a result, he must be investigated by the ICC for what he's doing there. ANC has never supported in its long history the killing of innocent people. Our own armed struggle was not directed at innocent people, was against installations and weakening apartheid machinery. So anyone who perpetrates war and a warmonger must be brought to book.
All right, sir, before we let you go, your domestic issues as the ANC, the developments around Azulini investment, are you going to lose your head office?
No, we will not lose our head office. We are working within the legal framework. to ensure that we fight this case. But nonetheless, you must understand one thing, and we'll still explain ourselves. There are people that the ANC owes millions of rands as far as 20 years back. We have entered into terms to pay them their money. Millions supported the ANC, and then we owe them money from one election to the other. It's very expensive to run an election. Why today will the ANC oppose Ezuluin? We are opposing them because there is a fraudulent matter there. We are defeated because we have been weaker to defend the movement right from the onset. And in this instance, we are fighting that case within the legal framework, but it is not just the ANC, the big brother versus the Mino. We took people's banners and placards, and therefore we don't want to pay them. We don't work like that. We pay our suppliers. Those we owe, we are paying them off. This is a fraud. That's what everybody must understand. We don't fight a case because we owe people genuinely. If we owed them the money, we entered into a clean, above the board agreement with them to pay them. We will be accountable to pay them, and we will be held accountable to pay them and pay them their money. If we lose, it's a sad day that we would have lost the case to a fraudulent matter. And that is what we are pursuing as the ANC. So everyone else must understand. Even those who we have said to them, show us these banners. I mean, we didn't have banners in our campaign. If we had so many banners, where are they? If they are in the storage, we went to check, there are no banners there. We made an offer, we said, no, we can give you this much because you don't deserve it, but we are here where we are. And they've exploited the law to the fullest, and they are threatening to attach our assets. Obviously, we will fight that. And our collective leadership will deal with this matter to a point where in which we exhaust every point in terms of the legality and defend the ANC from being vandalized by elements in our society who themselves have covered themselves nicely in the law, conniving with our people inside to produce this kind of a result. The ANC pays everybody it owes, and even if it means for years, there are patriots here who have supported this party, and they've never taken us to court. We owe them millions of rands from one election to the other. We have never fought them for the monies that they demand because there is evidence to show that we do owe them money. And that is what we are committed to pay them off and pay their debts. They've accumulated over the years. So we've got no fight with Ezuluin. If this matter was very genuine on the table, and as a result there was an above-board agreement, signatures were signed without authorization, they've been able to defeat us in court in relation to that. But they were pursuing the matter, including to the Constitutional Court. That's where we are.
All right, Mr. Mbalula, thank you so much indeed, sir, for your time. Obviously, nailing their colours to the mast about their support for the Palestinian cause. As we know that South Africa has been very clear, at least the South African government, in terms of its support for a two-state solution and many other measures really that are aimed at making sure that there's long-lasting peace in those parts of the world. So with that, back to you in studio.